Now it's the bit where I get to have a little rant, or 6. As a news junkie trawling the papers daily, I get quite exasperated about the state of the modern world. And I need to, I don't know, let off a bit of steam. Maybe.
I'm saying nothing at this stage. This is your first one. Yeah. People don't know what to expect.
They don't. No. He's had it in rehearsals for 2 weeks.
He's had it.
No, maybe you're going to applaud my remarks. Maybe you're going to fundamentally disagree. We actually don't mind either way, and we actually want to hear from you and get your reactions. So strap yourselves in. This is the debut of the Alex agenda.
Yeah, and before you ask, why is St. Simon challenging her on that? You challenge her on things, because I don't want to lose my voice. So do just, if you have a reaction, and as she says, it may be positive, we do want to hear it. gbviews@gbnews.uk. So the first one, I'll tell you, I promise I'll read it out.
Right, so let's kick off then. Right, the babe already has probably the most recognisable barnet in Britain, just like his dad. But there's been a lot of kickback over pictures of little Wilfred, who is the son of Carrie Johnson and Boris Johnson, at the G7 with his big mop of curly hair. And people have said, well, it's all very well having him in these photographs, but why don't we get to see his face? Well, it seems a bit of a strange demand to me to want to see the baby's face. I mean, he's got really high-profile parents, and it's going to be a security risk. Also, I don't know whether you know this or not, but things like AI means that faces these days, even from the age of a baby, can be easily scanned and kept on records. And there are a lot of people out there who might not want to have your identity or the identity of your child kept on records, especially if that child is the son of a prime minister. Now, it's up to you if you want to put photographs of your babies online and on social media, but if the PM decides to keep his son's image private, well, let him get on with it.
He's on the beach with 11 world leaders, with the world's media there. What, there are no babysitters around?
But why not have the little boy there? And I don't think it's a bad thing to have him, you know, keeping them company and entertaining the other guests. It's a sort of relaxed occasion.
I promised myself I wouldn't do this.
You know, it's sort of
you tell them what you
barbecue think. And little Wilfred's there, and I think that's quite lovely. And I like seeing the little thing running around with his mop of hair. He looks cute, and I haven't seen his face, but oh my gosh, leave them alone. They can't have that child's face plastered everywhere. Anyway.
So we'll take him to Cornwall for the G7. OK. Anyway, move on. I'm...
Right, so when Boris, sticking with the G7, when Boris tried to explain to le Président de la République that the EU's puritanical approach to the Northern Irish Protocol was, well, a bit like stopping Toulouse from sending sausages to Paris, Macron replied, well, it's not the same thing because they're the same country. Now, come on. Does he not understand the geography of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland? Believe me, as an MEP, it's something that I have actually found happens quite a lot. Is he ill-educated? Is he being willfully provocative? The idea that Northern Ireland could be annexed or is not genuinely a part of the UK is the kind of thing you'd expect someone like Putin to say about his nearest neighbour. So I've got a message for you, Emmanuel. I just want to say, je veux un peu de montrer un peu de plus de respect à vos voisins.
You're not Spanish. Look, we've had the first response already, and I hate this. Got to agree with the analysis on Little Wilf from Alex. Oh.
Yeah.
Respect for the Prime Minister is necessary, and this also has to respect his wife and children. That's from Alex in Cottenham in Cambridgeshire. Alex, you let me down. But there we are. I promised I'd read the first one out.
Team Alex,
thank
you, Alex. Right, now, pencil cases, T-shirts, gifts, memes. I see them everywhere. Little pugs, cartoons of pugs, French bulldogs. They're cute little things, aren't they? And flat-faced dogs, I suppose, desirable pooches to possess. With record number of registrations at the Kennel Club last year, these poor little dogs, apparently the term is brachycephalic breeds. If there's a vet out there, you might want to correct my pronunciation. Yeah, they have really bad breathing difficulties. They get infections in the folds in their skin and ulcers. They get spinal problems, erosion of the eyeballs, I read. Some of them can't walk properly, and the poor little things get heat stroke. And there's also this trend going on now for dogs with their ears docked and, you know, carrying little creatures around in handbags. And look, we're supposed to be a nation of animal lovers. Animals aren't fashion accessories. And, you know, pugs are very, very cute to look at, but please do your research, because I'm afraid these poor little mites don't always have the best lives.
Quite interesting, because we approached someone who the ears had been dogged, and they'd said a lot of people come up to them and said, how could you do that? A lot of them are taken off owners and are put into rescue centres,
right,
and people then take them on as rescue dogs and are actually doing good.
Yeah.
So don't prejudge.
Yeah, oh, no, and also if you have, you know, French Bulldog or Pug out there, I'm not saying you're a bad owner, but it is quite alarming that these have become so fashionable, and, you know, I didn't realise how many medical issues the poor things had. Right.
Move on.
OK, Trevor Phillips, good name. We've had Alex agreeing with me, and now I'm going to agree with Phillips. He says we must stop importing America's culture wars to Britain. And he says that actually, when it comes to divisions in society, class is more important than racial background when it comes to causing inequalities. Now, Trevor Phillips, as you might remember, is the ex-head of the Commission for Racial Equality. And of course, he believes that race really does matter, but he says that class is the biggest barrier to progress. And because we're talking all the time about this imported identity politics we're getting from America and things like critical race theory, we're ignoring some of our own issues. And he actually said we have deep enough divisions in our own country without shoehorning someone else's conflicts into our daily lives. Well said, that man.
Yeah, his parents live in America. Which I didn't...
Oh, do they? I'm a big fan of Sir Trev. Great guy.
OK.
Yeah, I like him. Right, now, it's just been the G7, and Boris has gone over to Brussels now, my favourite place, to speak to NATO, which is a good institution, unlike their neighbours. But NATO have come out and said, look, we do need to stand up to China, something I wholeheartedly agree with. We know that they've got hundreds of these so-called re-education camps, otherwise known as detainment camps, I think, by most people, with an estimated 1 million detainees so far. And there are now reports that when, you know, minority communities like Uyghurs are removed from these detainment camps, they're then forced into slavery, essentially unpaid factory work that comes with quotas. If they don't fulfil those quotas, they don't get paid. And you've seen the woeful treatment, of course, of Hong Kong. China's on military manoeuvres in the South China Sea and on the border with Kashmir, and essentially have an aggressive capture culture of developing world countries with their Belt and Road Initiative, buying up their debt and using these big infrastructure projects to essentially hamstring poorer countries to be at the beck and call of Beijing. And I think it's about time that we did something about this. We have sanctions in place against China, and we're offering citizenship to Hong Kongese with British national overseas passports. But China is now the biggest exporter to the UK. And I just want to know, if any other nation was doing this, would we not be tougher?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I do.
No. What a shame. Run out of time. But do email us, because a lot of you, not everybody's agreeing with you on other issues.
Oh, that's good to know.
But someone has just said, look, bring in a dog licence, a proper dog licence to stop the abuse of dogs. And there's an argument for that.
That does actually make sense. And here we go, finally. I don't know if this one's going to be popular, but cover up. It's the hottest day of the year. And this isn't jealousy. It's not because we're sitting in an air-conditioned studio where the little hairs on my arm are standing on end and I'm not getting my vitamin D.
Come on.
I'm not jealous at all. But do you know what? Please, once you're perpendicular, would you just cover up? You know who you are. These bare-chested brutes wandering around supermarkets, or scantily clad girls leaving little to the imagination. Look, I'm not a prude. I just like a bit of good old-fashioned decorum. Sunbathe all you like, but when you get up and start walking around, just bob your clothes on, would you? It's the decent thing to do.
Welcome to GB News. It's the 1950s. Now, that's it? Done?
Yeah, I'm done. That's my rant over, and I can't wait to hear the fury that I might have ignited.
We'll bring that to you
media.
in just a moment. But first, let's have a look at the weather.